Hi, my name is Kyle. I've made multiple six figures for my clients through running meta ads and a bunch of other different funnels and building out other systems for them too. And I was personally made over $30,000 in a month for myself. As you can see on screen right now, there's all the proof of me doing that here as well. People saying good stuff about me, so that's pretty cool. And in this video, I'm going to walk through why tracking is so important if you're doing anything, to be honest, in your business. But most importantly, especially when you're running ads and getting clients. I'm going to give you the three reasons on why I think they are. So the first one is it allows you to double down on the highest revenue generating activities. To explain that for you, let's say you have a calendar that looks like this. You spend this part of your day doing YouTube, like making YouTube videos. That's at like 9:30. And here, I don't know, you're fulfilling something like helping out clients, and that's at like 12. And then, for example, here, imagine you're doing like, I don't know, finances stuff and like legal stuff. So you're spending like 2.5 hours here, 3 hours here, you get the gist. So basically looking at where you spend your time and doubling down on this. Let's say you're focusing on YouTube. Now in YouTube, what is the most important thing you can, for example, affect based off your data? So let's say you're tracking click-through rates, you're tracking view durations, you're tracking watch time, like all these bunch of metrics. On the meta ad side, it would also be like CTR. It would also be like CPMs. It would also be things like opt-in rates. So there's a bunch of different metrics you can be tracking, right? Now, let's say you're not tracking these metrics. When you're making YouTube videos, you might just be putting out videos at random. You might not be looking at optimizing some parts of it, or not optimizing thumbnails, titles, thinking, all right, what should I choose? What's the main thing that I can actually do to move the needle and get more out of what I'm putting in? And also on the ad side, let's just say you're making ads randomly, but you don't actually know what the issue is. Let's say you keep making new ads, you're like, oh, my CTR should be getting better, or oh, my opt-in rate should be getting better. But the whole time, because you're tracking the wrong things, or you weren't tracking at all, it was actually a funnel change that needs to be done, not ads, which means there needs to be page updates. On the YouTube side, you actually found out it's like because of the way you upload videos. So if you're not tracking, you can't get down to the root cause of where your problems are stemming from. Like I just explained in this example here, it could be a creative issue, it could be a funnel page issue, so that means like a technical system. People may be struggling to even opt in altogether, like your metrics are horribly bad. There may actually be like a technical issue going on. So you need to be tracking so that you can actually double down on the actions which generate you the most revenue. So if you find from your tracking that making new ads makes you the most revenue, you should double down on doing that. Because every time you're doing something which isn't that, you aren't making as much money as you possibly could. And as the founder, you want to focus on the actions that are ideally unique to what you can solve and where your skill set is. And that's all you focus on. Whereas you have other people within your business who are focusing on the other things that can be handled by them. Cool, that's the first thing. Double down on the highest revenue generating activities. The second one kind of links to this too, is you can better allocate your time. Now to explain this, again, we can have the calendar and you're doing stuff at different intervals, 9, let's say, I don't know, 3. You advertise, fulfill, I don't know, learn, something like that. Obviously we break that down into smaller chunks in terms of what you're actually doing in these sections, but just for this example, if you aren't tracking where you're spending your time, for example, so I use a tool called Rise. It's very, very good. It's like an automatic time tracking tool. And I look at that at the start of every single day to think, okay, what can I do? Or where am I spending my time in an area which can either be like easily outsourced, someone else can handle, so I can focus on the main things, which is getting more customers and fulfilling for my clients, right? If I didn't do that tracking, I'd be spending my time doing things and I wouldn't know exactly where my time is going, because no matter how much you want to say you won't know exactly. You'll have a rough idea, but until you actually see it and it's getting recorded, you're like, oh, wow, okay. You can then start saying, right, I'm spending, for example, 2 hours a day. Let's say, I don't know, you do outreach, right? Doing outreach, and it makes me 10K in a month. Whereas you spend, I don't know, 1 hour a day improving your ads, or it could be making content, let's just say ads, and that makes you 90K. That would mean in a month, you have outreach, let's call that O. That would be 60 hours. And then you also have meta ads, which is 30 hours. This is 10K and this is 90K. As we can see here, because you are effectively tracking your time, you can now see, right, if I just took this 60 hours and put it into something that can make my ads better, I would add 3 times the amount of hours I can do here. So that times it by 3 as well, which makes this 270K a month because you've reallocated your time. Whereas if you took these 30 hours here and added it to this, it'd only be a 1.5x increase. So that would be like you'd take this to like 25K. So that's why it's so important to look at where your time is going and how you're tracking it, because you will actually end up finding out you can better reallocate it to the areas which make you more money. It kind of links back as well to doubling down on the revenue generating activities. Them two are kind of linked. But it's stuff like this that when you really look at it, realize the thing that's holding you back. Like that is a 10x difference. And if you didn't know where you're spending your time and what was actually the main reason for your revenue, you'd maybe even consider, oh, I need to do more outreach. When in reality, no, you need to focus on the thing that's making you more money, which is meta ads. So double down there. And then the third and final thing is some things don't work without tracking. Now this is so huge. Not only cash, right? The cash flow of a business needs to be meticulously tracked because if expenses are greater than revenue, you're cooked. The business is obviously going to fail, right? Because you're not profitable. Unless you have the cash flow to sustain yourself through investors, but we're not going to get into that. So that's just one metric. But I like to look at it more on time. Again, back to meta ads, my favorite channel. Meta ads. If we're looking here, you'll know that if you're running a campaign, right? Let's say it's optimized for leads. If your tracking isn't right, like this may even be like a duplication thing as well. Like you're sending back too many lead events or too many purchase events. This will screw up this campaign 10 times over. And the reason is because you need to know exactly how many people are coming through so you can make data-driven decisions. Like for example, for one of my clients that I literally just jumped off a call with, we're now setting up budget bands, which is very, very handy for tracking. So we're going to be basically splitting up ad sets into more unique groups so that we can better control spend and better find winners. So we had to set a limit of, all right, how much does an ad get to spend before we cut it? And that number was about basically $50 a day. If it's like 20, if it was 25 to 50, we keep it going. So if like the cost per marketing qualified lead was plus 50, we cut it. If it's there, we keep it going. And if it's less than 25, we keep it going as well. So just to give you a bit of context on budget bands. But because we have tracking built in, we are able to see, okay, we get marketing qualified leads for this amount. That is an amount we can spend based off our cost per result and our cost to acquire a customer. So that's a good indicator that ad should keep going. If we have an indicator that ad is spending more and it's not getting the results we want, then we need to cut it. And this is why tracking is so important. So you can make genuine decisions. When someone says they're data driven, this is what they should mean. This is what you need to find out about them. Are they actually looking at the data and using it to make decisions? And is the tracking good enough to actually allow you to make good decisions? Or are they just tracking some rubbish that doesn't help at all? Or are they just making things up and just saying the word data driven? So that's why it's so important, because some things won't work without tracking, and meta ads is an example of that. Your ads just won't go to the right audience, they won't go to the right people, and they'll mess up. So anyways, if you found that valuable, be generous, work hard, keep taking risks. Bye.